artificial sweeteners have been integrated into human diet with the hope that we would generate this sweet taste without paying the caloric price. However, when we look at the microbiome, these compounds can lead to obesity, to diabetes, and cardiovascular complications.
Are artificial sweeteners harming your gut? This is a question that has sparked countless debates and research. But what does the latest science actually say? In today's video, we're diving into a topic that could change the way you think about your diet: the impact of artificial sweeteners on your gut health. We'll explore insights from two leading experts in the field. Dr. Alonov, a world-renowned immunologist and researcher at the Weizmann Institute of Science, who has made groundbreaking contributions to the study of gut microbiomes, and Professor Tim Spector, a professor of genetic epidemiology at King's College, London, and a leading voice in nutrition and microbiome research. Together, they're shedding light on the hidden dangers of these sweeteners and what they could be doing to our gut bacteria. Let's get into it.
On research.
I think the biggest misconception is artificial sweeteners do not lead to weight gain. However, a very big eureka moment for us, we had a whole group of individuals consuming these sweeteners and were developing a change in their blood sugar control, which is exceedingly important as a contributor to metabolic complications.
Artificial sweeteners are often marketed as the miracle solution for those who want to indulge their sweet tooth without the calorie cost. But what if they're doing more harm than good? This was a question raised when researchers began to look deeper into the effects these sweeteners have on our gut microbiome. In a groundbreaking study, they found that artificial sweeteners, although low in calories, have the power to disrupt our gut bacteria in ways that could lead to weight gain, diabetes, and even cardiovascular problems. They discovered that these compounds could alter blood sugar control, triggering the onset of metabolic issues like obesity. So while we may think that we're avoiding harm by choosing a low-calorie sweetened drink, our gut may be reacting in ways that could set us up for health problems down the road.
I took a big dose of several sweeteners, and I tried initially aspartame. Then I started wearing a glucose monitor. So we were, in the early days of Zoe, we were testing these glucose monitors to see if I got a sugar spike at all by taking a couple of these sachets. And I didn't get anything with aspartame, but then I changed to sucralose, which I think is called Splenda in most countries, and did this 3 times. And 2 out of the 3, I got a significant sugar spike.
The story takes a more personal turn when Professor Spector decided to test artificial sweeteners on himself. Curious about whether these sweeteners were truly as harmless as they seemed, he experimented by consuming large doses of sucralose, a common sweetener found in many products. What he didn't expect was the significant spike in his blood glucose levels after consuming the sweetener, which proved that it wasn't as inert as many people believe. This personal experiment confirmed that for some people, artificial sweeteners can trigger metabolic changes that affect glucose and possibly insulin levels too.
Sweetness.
I think the biggest misconception is that artificial sweeteners are inert to the human body.
The biggest takeaway from this research is the myth that artificial sweeteners don't affect our body. Many of us have been led to believe that these chemicals are simply passing through us without any real impact. But the reality is that they can disrupt our gut microbiome and trigger reactions that lead to bigger health issues. This misconception that artificial sweeteners are harmless is perhaps the most dangerous of all, as it leads us to unknowingly consume something that might not be as safe as we think. Artificial sweeteners are non-nutritive chemicals designed to mimic the sweetness of sugar without the accompanying calories. These compounds are much sweeter than natural sugar, often hundreds of times more intense, making them a popular choice for food and beverage manufacturers looking to provide a sweet taste without the caloric cost. Some of the most commonly used artificial sweeteners include saccharin, aspartame, sucralose, often sold as Splenda, and sugar alcohols like xylitol. Newer options like monk fruit and neotame are also becoming increasingly popular. These sweeteners are often mixed together in products, making it difficult for consumers to know exactly what they're consuming.
Integral part of the human body. Now, when we look at the microbes in contrast to the human cells, what we've discovered is that in many cases, the microbes, which are much better metabolic factors than our human cells, are able to react, to degrade, and to alter their behavior upon exposure to these seemingly inert artificial.
As the conversation around artificial sweeteners continues to evolve, one area that has gained significant attention is their potential impact on our gut health. We often hear about the potential weight management benefits of switching to diet sodas or sugar-free foods, but the hidden consequences could be more complicated. Dr. Aaron Alonov and Professor Tim Spector delve into this issue, revealing a less discussed side of artificial sweeteners. While these sweeteners are not metabolized by our bodies and do not directly contribute to weight gain, the story isn't so straightforward when we consider the vast microbial populations living inside us. The gut microbiome, an extensive collection of bacteria and microbes in our digestive system, plays a crucial role in how our body processes food and maintains health. Until recently, we concentrated mainly on the human cells in our bodies, overlooking the significant impact our gut microbiomes can have. These microbes react differently to artificial sweeteners, sometimes causing detrimental changes. Unlike human cells that may remain unaffected by these compounds, the microbes can degrade and alter their behavior when exposed to artificial sweeteners, which may lead to issues like obesity and diabetes.
In other words, if you carry a certain fingerprint of microbial composition, maybe your reactivity to some of these artificial compounds would be different than someone else. And this could explain why different people claim different things in response to these seemingly inert.
Initially, artificial sweeteners were seen as a potential solution to curb sugar-related metabolic diseases. However, the research they conducted led to an unexpected discovery. They found that the effect of artificial sweeteners on the gut microbiome varied from person to person. This surprising variation could explain why some individuals experience positive outcomes with sweeteners, while others face adverse effects like weight gain or metabolic complications. The issue of artificial sweeteners is not black and white. While they may reduce tooth decay and help satisfy a sweet tooth without added calories, the broader implications for gut health are more complicated. Research suggests that artificial sweeteners could contribute to metabolic diseases, with some studies showing no effect, while others suggest harm or even potential benefits. This inconsistency in results stems from the complexity of individual microbiomes, making it difficult to generalize the effects of artificial sweeteners across the population.
And the one thing you see in all these studies is no evidence whatsoever of any big shifts in weight. And when you look at the meta-analysis, which is when they've combined all these studies together, often you can see tiny differences between the groups, less than 0.2 of a kilo difference between these groups, which is not matching at all these calories.
Looking back at the widespread advice to switch from sugary sodas to diet alternatives, it's clear that the conversation has shifted. While diet drinks may have been promoted as a healthier option, particularly for those concerned with weight loss, the reality is that their long-term effects on gut health are still uncertain. For years, diet drinks have been marketed as the solution to weight loss, with the promise that switching to sugar-free options will drastically reduce calorie intake. However, when we delve into science, things aren't so clear-cut. As noted by the experts, while replacing sugary sodas with diet versions should theoretically lead to weight loss by cutting 600 to 800 calories a day, the results don't match the expectations. Studies show only minor differences in weight, far less than what you'd expect based on calorie reduction. This paradox led scientists to question whether calories were the only factor influencing weight loss. So why isn't there a direct link between drinking diet sodas and shedding pounds? It seems that the body compensates for the reduced calorie intake in other ways, potentially increasing hunger or altering metabolism, ultimately nullifying the expected benefits.
An independent researcher in his own right at Hopkins in the U.S. designed an initial experiment in which he gave high doses of some of these compounds into mice that have never, of course, seen these compounds. And to our astonishment, his results were that these mice were developing a higher tendency to develop disturbances in their blood sugar control. They were kind of leaning towards the development of diabetes.
The real game changer came when researchers turned their attention to the microbiome. But what scientists discovered shocked them. Mice given high doses of artificial sweeteners developed blood sugar disturbances, leading to diabetes. The breakthrough? The microbiome was playing a significant role in this process. Through a series of experiments, scientists found that when they transferred the gut microbiomes of mice that had consumed artificial sweeteners to healthy mice, those new mice also developed diabetes. This discovery proved that the microbiome wasn't just reacting to food, but was actively driving health effects, especially in response to artificial sweeteners.
Which is the human part and the microbial part put together and communicate with each other. And once you do that, some of the ground truth that we believed for many decades, for example, that the artificial sweeteners cannot be digested by the human side of this holobiont, are in fact digestible by our microbiome.
This revelation sparked a shift in the way we approach nutrition. Instead of a one-size-fits-all mentality, the science of personalized nutrition began to take shape. Some people's microbiomes reacted to artificial sweeteners, leading to diabetes, while others showed no change at all. This emphasized the need for individualized diets based on the unique makeup of each person's microbiome, rather than generalizing nutrition for everyone. The idea of treating the human body as a holistic system, where both human and microbial cells work together, became the foundation for new, more personalized approaches to health and nutrition.
That basically they are chemical factories. And when they see something like saccharin or sucralose, which they've never seen before, right? So evolution, they didn't come up. So they can react rather oddly, and they can produce all kinds of weird chemicals in response to that. Maybe trying to break it down, trying to eat it, doing whatever they microbes do. And those chemicals, it turns out, when you transplanted them into other animals, can induce diabetes.
Scientists have discovered that when the microbiome encounters substances like saccharin or sucrose, chemicals it has never been exposed to before, it can react unpredictably. These foreign compounds can trigger the production of strange chemicals as the microbiome tries to break them down. It's a clear reminder that introducing unfamiliar substances into our system can upset the delicate balance of our microbiome, causing significant health problems. The studies which have been conducted over the past decade have involved extensive trials across various species, including humans. One particularly challenging part of the research was finding participants who had never consumed artificial sweeteners. This was essential to prevent bias from previous exposure. Eventually, after screening over 1,000 individuals, researchers were able to recruit 120 participants who were then randomized into groups, each consuming one of 4 common artificial sweeteners: saccharin, sucralose, aspartame, or stevia. These individuals were then closely monitored with continuous glucose monitors and microbiome assessments. The results were eye-opening. Some people experienced adverse blood sugar control, providing crucial evidence that artificial sweeteners can indeed disrupt our metabolism.
But I think we're moving to the point where it can't be considered the same as water, definitely. And the WHO's conclusion that it shouldn't be seen like that. There are trivial weight loss advantages. And there's this potential gray area that they might be causing some of these diseases that might well be mediated by our microbiome.
As we explore the complex landscape of sweeteners, the World Health Organization, or WHO, has raised important concerns. While they offer minor weight loss advantages, there's a potential risk, especially in how they might impact our microbiome and contribute to diseases. The challenge lies in the fact that different sweeteners interact with the body in various ways, so a one-size-fits-all conclusion isn't easy to draw. As Aaron points out, sweeteners like stevia have different effects than artificial ones like aspartame or sucralose, making it difficult to generalize. Given the ambiguity, the question arises, should we be consuming artificial sweeteners at all? According to Aaron, the evidence is still inconclusive. He suggests practicing caution and skepticism until more data becomes available. While some might argue that these substances are inert, research shows they may indeed affect our bodies, sometimes negatively, depending on our microbiome. Therefore, Iron's advice is clear. Avoid both sugar and artificial sweeteners as much as possible, and stick to water whenever you can.
If you really enjoy those drinks, you have them as a treat, but you don't have it as a staple. I think that's a sensible thing. But I think the other big issue here is on hidden chemicals in food.
Tim adds a crucial point. It's not about fearing sweeteners entirely, but rather reducing their consumption to a healthy level. The key is moderation. So while one can of soda a week won't likely cause harm, daily consumption could be an issue, especially if it's combined with other sweeteners and hidden chemicals in packaged foods. Tim's suggestion is to look out for foods with multiple sweeteners, as they are often processed and have a poor nutritional profile. If you're still craving that sweetness, try switching to healthier alternatives like herbal teas or kombucha. These can ease the transition from sugary drinks to more nutritious options. As we conclude this eye-opening conversation, it's clear that when it comes to sweeteners, the key is moderation and mindfulness. By understanding the role our microbiomes play and being aware of how sweeteners affect our bodies, we can make more informed choices. The journey towards better health doesn't mean completely eliminating all sweet treats, but rather finding a balanced approach that works for you. So take the time to experiment with alternatives. Cut back on those hidden sugars. And always remember that the power to make healthier choices is in your hands. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.